It's not The Rock, it's Superman.
Superman.
It's better than The Rock.
Yeah, it's better than The Rock.
So in dealing in the subjects that we do in high performance and aesthetic sports, like you see Tony, and I was looking for Tony earlier because I didn't want him to attack me because pretty muscles aren't necessarily the most high performing muscles. And when we deal with athletes that are in performance-based sports, we're dealing with a bunch of constraints, and obviously the limitations from a ketogenic diet before have been the application of high intensity. So in applying this exogenous forms of ketones, one of the things that we want to discover is how it relates to high intensity exercise. Because at a certain point, say above 70% of your max heart rate, we're dealing with needing a high amount of glycogen. So sports that are reactionary, like cycling, running, new sports like CrossFit, we're dealing with such a high burn rate of glycogen that we're finding that ketones, now that we're able to induce them exogenously, then we can actually increase performance by sparing glycogen. Some of the questions towards what we're finding is, what are some of the burn rates for that? What are some of the things that we can apply towards high intensity exercise, where someone who might be a high performance athlete who's heard about a ketogenic before will steer clear of it because it's never been applicable to induce it endogenously. So how are we coming to a way where we can include that into education for people in high performance world?
Great question, Mike. So, and this is cool stuff because bottom line is, like Mike says, that ketones can spare glycogen. I mean, think about like a marathon. If you're sparing glycogen, you can go longer. But what about very high intensity exercise, right? Where you are highly reliant on glycogen. And so a couple of things that we basically see with ketones is, one, they make the muscle more insulin sensitive. You guys know insulin, right? What does insulin sensitivity mean? It's like going back to that whole mailman thing that was talked about yesterday, right? Basically it means that the muscle can hear the signal of insulin very well. And so basically, if your muscle becomes very sensitive, it can store more glycogen. So that way, basically, during high-intensity exercise, you have more to use during high-intensity exercise. Because, like, remember that sprint that I showed you guys earlier, the Wingate? Yeah. In 30 seconds, you can deplete 26% of your muscle glycogen. That's high intensity. It's crazy, right? So you can store more of that. The other thing that we see benefits on is that because it's enhancing, like, the nervous system is very important for high intensity activity. And so that basically can enhance your ability to recruit, like fast twitch fibers. That's what we think.
Very cool, thank you. Some of the other things that we're wondering in the application is obviously military application. And it's been proven that a ketogenic diet or inducing ketosis is very helpful for long, slow distance, what people refer to as ultra distance. So military applications like that are very exciting. Is there anything in the works towards, or that you would have information towards promoting this? Because obviously a lot of us support our military. We know we have family and loved ones in the military, and we would like them to come home safely, and any chance at performance enhancement gives our guys a chance to come home safely.
Yeah.
Is there anything you can add to that?
Yes, so this is one of the things actually when I was doing my doctorate work.
There wasn't enough cheers for our military.
So great question. One of the things we did actually a lot of research when I was doing my doctorate. We did research on simulated military missions where you calorie restrict basically by like equivalent to 1,000 calories a day and simulate like a sustained military mission. So basically what you see is a ton of muscle loss, like 15, 20%, 30% body weight being dropped in a shorter period of time. We tested out metabolites that are very similar to BHB, very similar, and we saw it spare muscle. So this is something that's very interesting to us. One thing we know is this: guys who are on a sustained military mission, they are going a long time without very little food, huge backpacks, and anytime they got to perform. Now, if they're not keto adapted and they don't have any fuel available to them, they run out of carbs, your liver's only got like 100 grams of carbs. But you have thousands and thousands and thousands of calories worth of fat, even if you're lean. So adapting our military to a ketogenic diet, and this is what Dr. D'Agostino is looking into, basically might allow them to do more sustained military missions and not run out of fuel. Think about it. Why do you hit the wall? Everyone, who's ever hit the wall? Hitting the wall is like basically like a fuel tanker running out of gas on the road. They can't access the larger tank. Being keto adapted, our military could access this. And then obviously with like ketones, we do know that there's a lot of research showing they have possible anti-inflammatory effects. Yeah.
In this application, this stuff is all very exciting, especially from somebody that's in a business where we apply this stuff and success is related to maybe a 1 to 2% increase in performance. So from our perspective, it's exciting. We were both very, my wife and I were both very excited to start implementing the supplement and test it and use it. And the information we come back and share with people is even more exciting because it does, it's not just I get goosebumps from, but it's not just can we get an athlete to run faster, but it's can we make our military stronger, better athletes? Can we make them more resilient? That's the underlying, a lot of what human performance is about is in the nature of our soldiers being safer, healthier, better off. And I think everybody can agree that that's very, very exciting.